Okay, welcome everyone again. So to start with, we'll need a software called PuTTY, and we'll need an IP address. So first, try to download the PuTTY if you do not have it yet. So so you can just search for PuTTY download. Yeah. So go for alternative binary. So just this for the first one, the PuTTY.exe. So 32-bit or 64-bit, either one is fine based on your laptop or configuration. So it will work on Windows as well. So and if you are using Linux, you do not need it. You can just do SSH. Okay. Everyone got it? So if you run it, you'll see something like this. So this will be the window. So we have to put the IP address. So IP address is this one 103.94.135.209. And so just put it there. And there are some users account here. So user 1, user 2 you have up to user 30. So you can use anyone, randomly just pick one. And password would be DCNDS @01 for user 1, 02 for user 2, something like that. Okay, so you can pick anyone. So even if same user can be used by multiple users, should not be a problem. So in PuTTY, we just have to put this IP address. So let me try to change. So if you open it will prompt for user name and password. Okay, so before we move on to that, so let's try to do this. So in the meantime, let me continue. So what is traffic analysis? So what we're going to do in this session, we're going to see how we can do traffic analysis from a server, and it also can be done based on packet capture. So the traffic analysis is a process of recording and analyzing network traffic and making decision based on them. So I think we talked about different kind of anti-malware intrusion detection in the previous session. So all these are basically based on traffic analysis. So based on the traffic, we do all these things. We decide whether a particular traffic will go through or whether it will be blocked. So the metadata, when we talk about metadata, is we do not mean the actual packet content. We basically mean the sender, who is the receiver, what is the protocol, what is the time of this particular packet, and also what is the length of this message. There's some other things that we can also capture. And if you need, we can actually look at the packet body as well. But if you are using HTTPS or SSL packet, so it will not be readable. But for unencrypted packet, we can actually look into the packet content as well. So why even we analyze, as I said, mainly for security purpose, and the attackers also use this for attacking purpose. So as a security professional, we want to answer different questions. So we want to answer when an attack has happened, how did it happen, who was behind it, who is the attacker, was the attack from my network or outside network, what was stolen, which machine or which user has been exposed. So these kind of questions, if you want to get answer to, then you need to do traffic analysis. There is no other way to do it. So we can also monitor, do it for, this is basic stuff. So you can also, control the download and upload speed based on server analysis. And of course, for security purpose, to identify malicious or suspicious attacks. Okay, so we'll be using, there are some various tools for packet capturing. So there's Tcpdump, Wireshark is another graphical tools. T-Shark is an analysis tool, and also there is WinDump for Windows systems. So in this session, we'll be using Tcpdump and T-Shark. Okay. So Tcpdump, this is a tool for basically Linux. So it allows user to intercept and display packets, display network level packets, and we can do it, do filtering. We can see packet contents, and it can also identify protocols and fragment the packet accordingly. So it is used to gather data from the network, decipher the bits. So the packets is actually in bit format, but it can show you in human readable format. So TCP uses libpcap library, and can be used for intercepting as well as showing the data. So this is how you need to install TCPDump. So for this session, we'll need TCPDump as well. So, but you need to install in your machine if you want to. But for this session, we'll actually do SSH in the server. So TCPDump is already there, so you don't have to install it. But if you want to use it later on for your own purpose, you need to install it in TCPDump. So this is, for Ubuntu, you can check using dpkg whether it is already installed. For CentOS, you need to use RPM. And to install the system for Ubuntu, use apt-get. And for CentOS, you can use yum. So this is in the central repository. And we can, just using this command, we'll install it in the system. Okay. For Windows, there is also, I think, Anbar will talk about it. There is Wireshark. So it also comes with similar concept. So you can also install Wireshark in the Windows-based system. So TCPDump, this is the basic syntax of TCPDump. So TCPDump, this is the command. And then we have options. So we can provide different options. We'll talk about what options we have. And this is a filter expression. Filtering means what type of packet we want to capture. And so running TCPDump requires root privilege, so you have to use sudo, sudo command to run any TCPDump command. So by default, TCPDump continue to capture packets, so it will continue to run until you press Control-C. Okay? But there is also options on if you want to capture a fixed number of packets, like 100 packets, 200 packets, we can also define it. So in those cases, the capture will stop after capturing the required number of packets. So after the capture, it will show the number of packet has been received and processed, packet received by filter, and packet dropped by the kernel for lack of buffer space. So so if there is more data that your processor or your RAM can handle, it will be dropped by the kernel. So that can also be shown here. So this is a basic line of a TCPDump. So the first part here, this is timestamp when this particular packet was captured. Not when the packet time was captured. It is a timestamp of the packet itself. Then we have, this is the protocol IP. This is using IP protocol. There's different protocols, as you know, network protocols. So it will show which protocol this is. The first part here, up to the dot, DCNDS.isct.buet.ac.bd, this is actually the IP address. So by default, TCPDump converts the IP address to DNS name. So it uses reverse DNS to do that. But we can also, if you want, it will show the default IP address as well. In the second part, this is the port number .ssh. So because this is port 22 is the default for SSH, so that's why it is mapping to .ssh. But this is actually in the packet, this is a port number. This is 22, this is not, so SSH word is not there. So this is just mapping of the port number. The second part is the receiver part, and this is the receiver port number. So as you see, this is 2481. So this is the port number of the TCP connection. Then we have a sequence number. So this is the start and 1 plus the end. So in this case, what it says, 847 frames are there. IP frames are there in this particular packet. And in this case, the acknowledgement, this shows up to this sequence number, the sender already have received the acknowledgement from the other party. Okay? So this is a two-way communication. Okay? So I'm sending packet, I'm expecting acknowledgement. So this is saying I have received acknowledgement up to this part. Okay? So that means the receiver needs to send acknowledgement after that. Okay. Then this part 2048. This is the packet size for this particular packet. So sequence number used by destination host to reassemble the TCP traffic. So on the receiver side, if you're sending packets, it can, as you know, this is IP packet. That means it can go in different order. Okay, so on the receiving side, they have to, sequence it. Which packet is earlier, which packet is later. So based on the sequence number, they actually, organize it in incremental order. So sequence number changes absolute to relative value after the first two message. So if you look at this part, so this is relative sequence number. What it means after the first, if your first sequence number is say 2215, this is a long absolute sequence number, then it will become 123 like this. That means after I send the first sequence, it will be the relative sequence number on top of that. Okay, so what it is saying, there is 100,024 frames are there. So first 2025, not including bytes, have been sent. That is how then 24 bytes have been sent to the receiver. And acknowledgement number is the sequence number or next data expected in the other direction. Window is a receiving buffer size available in the other direction. So it is used for flow control. So as you know, there is different speeds of the networks. There is a 100 Mbps regular LAN. There is also 1G line nowadays. So, but when you are receiving the two party, they may not have the same capability. So maybe as a sender, you can send faster, but the receiver may not have that particular capability. So this actually used for flow control, in how much speed you can actually send the data to the receiver. So, and also MSS is also, for the protocol. So if 20 bytes IP header and 24 bytes TCP header, so we can send up to 1024 bytes, which is 1 megabyte of TCP payload can be sent. Timestamp option pulls the timestamp of the sender, since this is 10 bytes, and selective acknowledgement. So this is based on the protocol. So we'll not go into the detail of the protocol here. So we'll look at how we can actually use the Tcpdump to capture different types of packets. So filters is one of the critical part of packet capturing. So the idea is we are not often interested in all the packets. We want to capture in a specific types of packets. For example, for a specific protocol, or if for a specific sender or a specific receiver. Okay, so this allows us to put the filters what we want. So based on different filters, we can capture less amount of data. As you know, there's huge amount of traffic goes through the network, but using the filter, you can minimize your data set so that you can identify problems if you want to. So it will allow us to capture only packets that is interested to us. So for traffic filtering, so this is the option. So let's try this practically. So the first option is Tcpdump -I any. So what this means is I want to capture from any interface let me try to increase the font size. think this is better. So, so everyone logged in? Did you try to log in? Okay. Anyone have a problem logging in? Okay. So let's try to first command sudo what this is showing is all the packets that is going through. Okay, so now remember you are logged in the network in the server. That means the source is the server, and everyone else will be the receiver for this packet captures. Okay, even if you logged in through the SSH, because we are capturing it at the server, that means server is the sender, and the all other parties will be the receiver. So. So this is actually capturing all the packets. So this is capturing all the from all the interface. So if you press Control C, it will. So it will stop, and if you look at the bottom, so it shows 19,500 packets have been captured. In total, 22,400 packets received, and almost 3,000 packets have been dropped by the kernel because there's too many packets that it can handle. So if you look at one particular packet here, so this is the same format that we saw. So if you look at here, the first timestamp IP protocol. This is, as I said, this is the source because we are capturing at the server. So the server will be the source. And 202.90, this is, I think this is ASTI's IP address. So this is the receiver. Because we logged in through ASTI's network, so this will be ASTI's IP address. Then this is the sequence number that we sent. And acknowledgement number 7361. And this is the length. Okay? So this particular system has two interfaces. So one is ENS 192 and another is ENS 173. So this is a local IP address for the server, and this is actually the public IP address that we are using to log into the system. So most of the packets will be 192 because that is what we are using in this session. Okay, so this is, to list the as I said, so we have two interfaces. So we can use, so instead of, in the first one we said -i any, that means it will capture from all the interfaces. If you have 5 interfaces, it will capture from 5 interfaces. But we can define interface here. So if you define ENS 192, so we can define, instead of any, we can say ENS 192. Okay? So now it will capture packets from only that particular interface, not other interface. Okay? So that means that is one type of filtering. Okay? So we can capture from only one network IP address, not everything. Filtering host involving IP as a destination or source. So on top of that, we can say I want packet from only this particular IP address. So I may have, say, hundreds of IP address that is communicating with me, but I want only one. and that party could be as a source or destination or both. So in both cases, we can say so the option is we can define as a host. If we define as a host, it will be two-way. So the IP address can be in the source side of the packet, or it can be on the destination side of the address. Okay, either way it will be captured. But if you define as a source, so if you define as a source here, that means this IP address must be at the source part of the packet, not in the destination side. And if you define at the DST, so that means this IP address, or in this case this URL, must be at the destination side of the packet, not in the source side. Okay? So let's see. So we can say host. So our IP address was 103. So 103.94. So this is host. That means this is for that particular server. So if the server is on the source side or destination side, it will be captured. So now if I put, say, destination, we'll see very less packets, hopefully. No. So in this case, the server is at the destination. So because we logged in as a SSH, that means all the SSH client is the source and the server is the destination. So this is, if you can see, so all these are SSH packets. So this is the source from different laptops here, and this is the destination part on those cases. Okay? So this is, if you want to filter any specific IP address, you can define it here. Okay, so this is filtering the host. So next, what we want to do, we can also define network level. So in the host level, that means you have to define one particular host. But we can define on the network level. So we want packets from all these network or sub-networks. Okay? So we can define 103.94. So what it means, all the packets that has it starts with 103.94, we get packets from all those. We can also say, subnet mask. So 103.94.0.0.16, that means all those packets from all these hosts will be there. So this also can be similar to before. We can be on the source side or also can be on the destination side. We can do protocol filtering. So we have, when we capture packet for host-wise or any, it will capture all the packets for all the possible protocols. So we can define, I want only one ARP packets, or I only want IP packets. Similarly, we can use TCP, UDP, ICMP, etc. So let us try that. So we say this is the interface. Then we say IP. So this will only capture the IP packet, nothing else. If we say I want ICMP, so this is only capturing the ICMP protocol. So if you look at here, this is only ICMP echo receive and reply. So now all the IP packets are filtered. So only you will be receiving the ICMP packets. So using this concept, we can filter by any protocols like TCP. There's also options for other protocols, like if you want to go to in the further level, like SIP protocol, H323 protocol. So you can also apply those protocols here as well, if you want to. So this is helpful if you want to look deeper into a particular type of protocol, not all the packets that you want to capture. Okay? So this is protocol level filtering. In the next, we also can say based on filter port numbers. So it will match any port number that we see. So port 22. Port 22 means it will capture packets for SSH. But it may not be always SSH. If your service is running, different service is running on 22, it will be capturing that particular packets. For HTTPS traffic, we can say 443 because that is default for HTTPS. For DNS, we can say 53, which will be DNS queries. So if I try that, so instead of here, we'll say port number. So if you port 22, so it will show all the SSH packets because there is a lot of SSH logins are there. We'll see a lot of packets. So if I say 53, so this is basically DNS packets. Okay, so we'll see that, but it will not be much. Also, if I say port 80, so this is HTTP traffic. Okay. Now here you can see. Let me. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to browse a website. So once I start browsing in this server, then we'll see some HTTP packets. So I just browse a particular website. So this is the HTTP packets that we see. So as you know, HTTP packets is non-encrypted. So this is HTTP protocol. So all the HTTP packets can be captured. This is the source, which is the server, and this is the destination. Okay, and .http means this is port 80, because we are capturing that. And because this is HTTP, that means this is unencrypted, and we can also look into the body of the packet if you want to. Any questions so far? Anyone having trouble? Okay, so we can also define range of port instead of one specific port. In that case, we have to define port range. So if we say port range, then we have to give a range by using a dash. So the first part is the start of the port, and the second part would be the end of the port. So it will capture all the packets between these two ports. We can combine all these options. We saw how to use only TCP packets. We saw how to capture packets with port numbers. So we can combine these two together. So using like AND operation. So AND means any TCP. So this is says any, that means from all the interfaces. I want to capture TCP packets and only for 443 ports. That means basically I want to capture HTTPS packets for TCP only. And we can also say instead of AND, A and D, we can also use double AND as well to combine. So this is like bitwise operations. So you can use AND or options as well. We can also use NOT. So for example, for here we are saying port 53 or HTTP. So basically we are saying either capture DNS packets or capture HTTP packets, not others. So this is OR. That means either one is valid, it will capture. We can also say not ARP in the last session. So we can say not, or we can use the sign not. So what this is saying, capture everything except the ARP packets. Okay? So it will capture all other packets except the ARP ones. So we can define or combine all these options together to further use filtering options. So one of the important part here is, as we saw here, so this is live capturing, right? So as packet comes in, it is there, but it's not very useful for analysis because thousands of packets are going through. So that means we have to have some way to write those in files so that we can analyze it later. Okay, it cannot be done visually. Okay, the idea is we have to capture and we have to analyze it automatically using programs, right? So that is what we want to do. So we want to write to a file, and you also want to read from that file later on, okay, so that we still get all the information we want. So to write, everything else will be similar. So we can also use all the filtering options that we saw so far. On top of that, we have to add -w write pcap. So -w means we want to write, and this is basically a file name. Okay, so pcap is the default file format for any packet capture. So if you write it in a pcap format, you can also use it to open other software like Wireshark. You can use Wireshark to read those data as well. This is standard format. Okay, so W is a format. Then read is -r, so -r pcap. And later on, you can use another option, cap infos or capture infos, to read the file. What is the analysis of summary of the data? So let's see. So let's say first we captured port 22. So we have all the data. So let me first check the file names here. Okay. So -w, then we can say test pcap. So now we'll not see any output here because everything will be written in the capture file. So because we did not define any numbers, so it will continue to capture. So until we stop it manually, so you have to use Control-C to do that. So you say it will show that 1425 packet received by the filter. So we have that information. So now we can try to read that file. -r test y. So this is the pcap file. So this is all the packet that has been captured. Okay, that means once you write it, then we can open it later on to do further analysis. And also you can use cap infos. So it will show different information. So packet size limits, number of packet that has been captured, what is the size of this file, what is the duration of this capture. This like 14 seconds. Start and end of this capture. So this will show some summary information about this capture. So this is how we can read and write data from our capture. So this is how we can capture. So there are some other options that we can also use. The first is very useful. This is called -c. So this is used to define how many packets I want to capture. So you can set any number. So you can say, I want 100 packets, I want 200 packets, I want 500 packets, like this. So after that, the capture will automatically stop on its own. You don't have to use like Control-C or something like this. So let's see. So if I say -c, say 10, so just after 10 capture, it will automatically stop. It will not continue to run anymore. Okay? So we can define the number of packets that we want to capture. -e can be used to print the link level headers like MAC address, if you want to do that. -n can be used to say, do not resolve the IP address into names. Okay? So as I said, in the source address and destination IP address is automatically DNS, reverse DNS, and it will show you the name of that. But if you do not want that, if you do want the raw IP address, we can say -n. So in this case, the DNS will not be resolved. That means it will show you the actual IP address that is in the packet. Okay? So -nn, if you use 2n, it will also not use the protocol and port number. Okay? It will also be in the raw. So in this case, if you see, there is a .ssh. So if I use -nn, in this case, it will show 0.22 because this is the actual port number of SSH. Okay, so this is useful, when you want to actually capture the raw data rather than converted data. Okay, so we can do that using -nn. We can also use snap length. So in this case, we can define what is the length of our snapshot. So default size is 262.144 bytes or 65,000 bytes, but we can define different length if you want. The last one is very useful, -hash. So this is used to print an optional packet number at the beginning of the line. So that means if you want to see how many packets have been captured actually, we can do that. Say, so -hash. So if you look at here on the left, there is a 1, 2, so like this, there is a sequence of packets. So this actually gives you, how many packets we have actually captured. So you have also gives you a serial of those packets. So this may be useful later on when you are analyzing those packets. We can use that sequence number to see how many packets you have and what is the serial. So -t, don't print a timestamp on each dump line. So timestamp can be on the first packet and then it can skip. If you use TTT, it will print a delta between the first packet and the continuous packet. And if you use 40, it will print the timestamp as hours, minutes, and seconds. And it will be used as a midnight. So let me try this. So let's say -t. So if you see, so there is no timestamp here. So timestamp is missing. If you use minus single t, if I use triple t, it will show a timestamp 00. Then it will show. I think this is for the single. So if I capture a little bit more, maybe 100 packets. So this is 0.69 microseconds. So this is from first to last packets. And if I use 40s, so this is showing 00. But if I use 40s, it will actually show the first timestamp. So 1351. So this is actually the time of the server. They're 2 hours behind us. So 1351.20, and from that it will increase from the first to last packets. Okay, so V is for verbose. A, if you want to use ASCII packets. So this is useful if you want to see the packet body, if you want to see what is inside the packet. So converting it to ASCII, gives us additional information instead of just binary packets. So that is useful in some cases. And -x is used to print data of each packet in hex and ASCII. So let me try that. -x. So if you see, this is actually not converted to regular source address, IP address format. So all the data is in the hexa format here. And this is now, this is in ASCII, but you cannot see what is the IP address, port number, all those things. But this is useful if you want to look into the body of the message. In that case, sometimes the ASCII format is quite useful. Okay. Now converting PCAP file to CSV file. This is, sometimes if you want to, save data in a format, like if you want to save it in a database, so you need more structured format from the data. So converting it to CSV means you can later use it for different types of analysis. You can save it in a database, then you can run queries or use general analytics tool on that. So this is a command. So by the way, you'll get all this soft copy. So later on, you can try it yourself if you want to. So this is basically, we can use another tool called tshark. So what this is saying, read the tcp.pcap file and use the fields. The separator will be equals. There you need to save the header. Then this is the, columns will be generated. This is a frame number. Frame time will be relative, IP source, IP destination, IP protocol, length of the frame, captured length, IP header length, and TCP header length. So, so with this we can convert a particular TCP file to a CSV format. So we already have a capture. So let me use that to show you the output, how this will look like. So here we have a file called So there is a file called tcp.pcap that we captured before. So if you run, if I run the command, so I already have the command copied. So it will generate a CSV file called tcp.csv. Okay. So if I'll show you the file, you can see this is a comma separated file. So there is sequence number, I think the timestamp, source IP, destination IP. So these are all comma separated. So now you can import this file to a database if you want to, and you can use further analysis like queries and regular data analytics on that. So this can be used. By the way, you can also use your own programs to capture and save it in a database directly if you want to. There's Tcpdump is a tool, but you can use this is based on libpcap library. So you can write like programs in C or Java, I think, and you can from your own program you can capture, and you can save data in different formats if you want to. So this is conversion. Now for traffic analysis, we have different options. So the first thing is we want to list the host IP address and name from a captured file. So we want to see how many, once we capture, how many hosts are there in this particular capture. So the command is -r DCNDS, which is reading the DCNDS capture. And we are saying -q -z hosts. That means we want to see the list of hosts from the capture. So let me try that. So this will show all the hosts that is related to this particular capture. So this is, we have this host, Google Analytics. So that means this particular capture has interaction from all these hosts from this particular server. So if you have hundreds of packets going on, you can have information from all the hosts. And you can, in the last session, we talked about traffic, URL filtering or source filtering. So you can use this kind of technique to identify that what the users are actually using in terms of hosts, and we can use that for further analysis later on. We can show warning packets and related information. So as you know, some packets are malformed in some cases. We see warning in the protocol level. So you can, so these are most useful files in terms of identifying problems or useful packets. So this will show what is the warning package that is captured. So if you saw TCP acknowledgement was not captured, previous segment not captured, connection reset, frame is out of order. So these are different types of warning that can be found from this type of analysis. We can also see protocol-wise statistics. For example, here we can see HTTP statistics for different hosts. So this is again reading HTTP PCAP, and we can see it in a stat, or we can also see it as a tree structure. So this is showing the statistics of HTTP. There is 404 packets. There is 304 packets, 200 packets, and there is get packets as well. If we show as a tree, so it will show details of each package of different HTTP packets that we have been captured. So this kind of analysis can be used, to see if there is, DNS attacks that is coming through, or DOS attacks that is coming to your server. So this HTTP package, but is already malformed, or even not continuous reset packets. Reset packet means you are sending a reply, but you're not getting the handshake that you're supposed to get. We can list the host with counts. So count means we can do it. What is the mostly used host in our system or in our capture? It could be source destination, or it could be in regular source or destination, or it can be in the host as well. We can show protocol hierarchy statistics, which protocol is being used most of the time, HTTP or SSH or something else. And we can also see who is doing what. So it means we can see detail of the packets if you want to. So let's see. So you can see this is, let me. So 103, this IP address, this is 100% of the time. This has been, because this is on the source or destination, so it has to be in either of the side. So this is 100%. 200, this is in 9,692. So this is in 80% of the packet, 76%. If you go down the different IP address, for each IP address, how many packets has been captured and what is the percentage compared to all the packets that has been captured. And if you want to see protocol hierarchy, so this will show you how many in terms of protocol. So IP packets, how many of them TCP packets, we have HTTP, in those what is different types, we have image, we have TCP segments, we have monitoring packets on top of HTTP packets. So if you have multiple protocol levels, so all these will be shown in these scenarios. So if you use conversations as IP, so what this will do, so this will actually show for for each pair, what is the statistics? How many packets, every unique pair, how many packets has been transferred between two particular parties? And what is their statistics, how many packets, how many bytes, all those things. So you can also capture MAC address, as I said before. So you can use -E option to capture the MAC address. So MAC address will be the public part. So because we are using the the router, we'll get the IP MAC address of the server, but from this end, we'll get the router MAC address of the router as the router, not every individual laptops or devices, because it is filtered by the router. So I think I have already discussed this. So -C used for specific number of packets. So this is for connection establishment. So TCP has three-way handshake, right? So we have SYN packets, SYN acknowledgement, and acknowledgement packet. So we can capture this packet as well. So we can say interface, then we can say facebook.com. So then we can, wget is basically like browsing a particular website. So once this is done, we can capture how many packets are going through between these particular two hosts. So this is the handshaking packet that we'll see. There will be 3 packets for every TCP capture. So we'll see similar example, but this is only TCP handshaking. So this is sometimes useful to see, especially for DOS attack, when they send the first packet like a SYN packet, but you try to send the SYN acknowledgement, but you'll never get the acknowledgement back because it's non-existent or it's spoofed IP. So these are useful, whether this is multiple times happening from the same IP address or not. So in this case, this is very useful. We can make a list of IPs. Just use -N and R. So -N and R, DCN. So what it does, if you read a file, so DCNDS from PCAP, then we can, this is some Linux command, awk, cut. So using this and sorting, you can, I can also add like more. So this is basically only show the IP address in your list. It will remove everything else from the capture. So this is like take the first row, split and cut, then we can use sorting to do, and we can also do unique sort as well. And we can show sorting by frequency. So sort minus error. So if I unique C, so what this is showing is for each, how many packets have been captured for each IP. So you can see the top one is 14 for this particular IP address. 175, then we have 12. So this is, the most of the time a particular IP address is in the particular capture file. So we can also define ports between how many ports are there have been used for any a pair. So it will show a number of ports used by this particular source and destination IPs. So this can be, in general, when we use server, so server port is generally fixed, right? So for HTTP or HTTPS, but on the client side, it will be different. Because it is automatically assigned by the operating system. So, but if you want to see if it is the same port number is coming from the same IP, which may happen for attacking scenarios. So we can also, for port-wise, we can also identify how many times a particular ports have been used by each source or each destination. Okay, so finally what I want to show is how to sniff username and password. So this is true for any HTTP site. So generally what we saw so far, we only look at the IP headers. But for HTTP packets, we can also look into the packet body. So whenever there is a packet body and HTTP packets, that means the username, if we are providing, or not only username and password, any data will be unencrypted. Okay? So if you are browsing through a website that has HTTP protocol, not HTTPS, and if you are providing sensitive data like username and password, that can be captured by anyone that can tap into the network in the middle. So it could be your network provider, it could be your ISP, or it could be who is managing the server network on the other side as well. Okay, so I just want to show how deadly it is to use HTTP in this type of SES. So we can assuming that we can capture. So this is how we will capture. We can capture HTTP packets using port 80, right? So port 80, we can capture the packets. Okay, so it could be your device or it could be any other device. That say, for example, you want to see other people's username and password. Okay, so you can tap into a network and you can capture all the HTTP packets. Okay, so once you do that, so the next thing we have to do, if you know, visually it is very possible. So in this case we know. So what we use, this is one of the website in our country from a telecom operator. So they're using HTTP for logging to their system is HTTP and they have user login in the system. And from the data we know that they have this keyword, username, they have a keyword password. When you try to log in, so these keywords are already there. Okay, so for different systems, you may have different information, but you can, if you just look at one particular packet, you can know what is the packet structure. So once user browses this type of system, this username password will be captured. So what we did, we already have a capture. So we already have a capture for teletalk. So this is for for just illustration. So here we have a cap teletalk. So this is what we did. We on the capture, then we went to the website. We submitted username and password. Okay, and so now, so this is the command that we can use. So this is just so this is for if you are doing it live, but for okay, let me show you if it is it's live. So this is what we are looking here. So as you can see, I just tried to log in, and this is the username that I submitted. 6 ones, password is DCNDS. Okay? So this can be done for basically any HTTP website. For any website, if you are submitting username and password, that can be captured by anyone from the source to destination. And this is very dangerous in a sense because from our, the way we do is that we use the same password in different systems. So it doesn't matter if you're using secure password in Gmail or Facebook. Nobody can look into that because they are using HTTPS. But I can get the password from here, and I can try to use the same password for your other accounts. In most cases, that become useful or successful in terms of attacking. So I would suggest refrain from using HTTP sites if possible. If not possible, use completely different password than other accounts. Okay? At least that's what that much we can do. I think that's all I have. If there is any questions, I'll be happy to answer. By the way, I just I actually covered very minimal part of TCP dump or packet capture. There is extensive user guide and also resource available in the internet. So if you want to do further analysis, those information will be available. And also this, the presentation will also be available in the websites. All right, thank you.